All right, so we're just going to make a short video to walk you through WordPress and Google Cloud Platform. I don't know why I blanked on that. It's been a long day. So WordPress is traditionally understood as a website builder for bloggers and other types of marketing. E-commerce has just recently become something that has been used for WordPress. So we just want to kind of give a little one-on-one demo here of what some WordPress sites can do and what the setup is for WordPress going forward. So there's WordPress.com and WordPress.org. They are different services. Basically, WordPress.com is a no installation, no hosting required, kind of basic bare bones website. You build off of templates and themes that are part of the WordPress suite. There's not as much customization as probably one would like, and it's definitely geared towards a specific subset of clients. WordPress.org, which is what we would be using, is a server-side installation of WordPress. You have more functionality to install additional plugins and really tweak WordPress to customize it in a way that may have never been done before. There's a lot of examples we'll look at in a couple minutes that definitely transcend the standard mold for what people would consider a WordPress site. You also have pretty complete control over coding and design. That may be something that, as an end user, that you ramp up to with use of PHP and CSS is definitely something you can learn or hire somebody to do. What else do we have? Plugins we kind of talked about a little bit. Both have support. You get more support through WordPress.com as an end user than you do through WordPress.org. And that's just because with WordPress.org, it's kind of an assumption that you have some sort of background in development or web applications or are hiring people or working with people who do. So WordPress has some suggestions for hosts. Bluehost is a big one. The reason we got away from the traditional hosting for this project is basically because of the way that we're going to be collaborating with both you and with each other, and with the database control we want to have. So with the hosting that is done through WordPress's site, you kind of are completely hands off the database. It's an invasive back-end component, but it's not something that you ever really get to tinker with, and I think we all thought that we maybe wanted a little bit more control than that. So we actually use Google Cloud Platform. So Google Cloud Platform is a cloud-based platform arrangement that is designed to basically mimic a web server on a cloud. So instead of having a physical computer in your house that runs at all times, you have a virtual machine on Google's cloud platform that is running an OS, usually Linux. In this case, I believe that's what we went with. And in that virtual instance, you're running a database application and all the code for your web applications as well. So it's more closely aligned with a professional development scheme than if you were to go with like Bluehost, which is kind of a more basic level, and not bad at all, but definitely maybe a little bit under what we were trying to go for this project. So there are definitely 4 pages of benefits, if not more, of why Google Cloud Platform or Amazon Web Services. They have a lot to offer. They're big technology companies who have put themselves through the paces to learn exactly what you need to do to have a successful online site and the type of tools that application and web application and site designers are looking for We did not go into all of these in our presentation. There just wasn't enough time in the day. There's a couple that I think are really important to talk about just quickly. Google server is extremely secure. Obviously, we're talking about Google here. It's pretty much foolproof. They have there are ways to set up backups, automation for alerting, failovers. There's basically, the sky's the limit. With enough time and patience and configuration, you can circumvent almost every potential risk as a site developer and hosting your site. There is a really powerful analytics and data and analytics tool built into Google Cloud Platform. It does need to be configured, but it can allow you to collect large amounts of data on your site, the users, how your application is being used, and a lot of insight into how you can make that better. And then kind of the key for us over WordPress.com or using like Bluehost is it's scalable. It's a serverless code base that is palatable for anybody from the beginner to the completely advanced web designer. So for generations and generations of this capstone, as well as anybody who may intern or work for you, they're not going to be limited by this decision that we've made. So definitely worth the look. There are a lot of products and services that Google Cloud Platform supports. We're not going to even really touch the tip of the iceberg on using them. There's quite a few, but I just wanted to show you kind of how we already set this up a little bit just to demo it. Within the cloud platform, you have a really nice dashboard and activity log where you can see anyone who has admin access or access to editing this site. You can kind of really dive deep into what they've been doing, what files they've been moving. And this may be Greek to you, but it definitely is a good security measure. When you have more than one person working on a website that is being used for personal data. The dashboard is a really great look at not only your site usage for the different pieces of your platform, but also typically gives you a billing overview because the billing for these cloud platformers is scalable. So they never make you pay more than what you need to, but if you do need to pay more, they can scale up. One really nice thing that I did notice, and I won't go too far into it here because I want to move on, but billing for both the Google platform and Amazon Web Services allows you to actually set budgets and alerts. So you can be alerted when billing reaches certain levels. It can be turned off when billing reaches certain levels. So it's really cool. There's a lot of safe measures in place to make sure that you don't get hacked and somebody uses up so much, inbound and outbound data that you owe them $3,000. That just isn't going to happen. There's a lot of safeguards in place. So I just want to go in a little bit deeper here. So this is actually the compute engine. You get there from the sidebar here, from the platformer bar. And in our compute engine right now, we actually have a virtual machine instance running with our WordPress installation on it. So this virtual instance is a server. This is the machine itself. So it's basically a fake computer, a mock computer, if you will. And it's running an instance of WordPress, which comes fully integrated actually with MySQL. So when this is actually running, you can get a really good idea. I mean, I haven't put a lot of data on it, so it's not a lot to look at, but you can definitely get a great idea of the utilization of the machine itself, and if you're going to be scaling up in the billing cycle anytime soon. So really important to understand and know. There's all this operations and tracking and alerting stuff that can be set up over here, snapshots for backups, disk backups, metadata, health checks and alerts that can be sent to you. You know, there's just so much that can be done to protect the validity of the site. So definitely something worth looking into for this particular platform. But down to the fun stuff. So WordPress is running on this right now. We have our external IP and our internal IP. We can SSH into this if we wanted to run a command line and actually poke around the server via SSH, but we're actually going to go look on the front end here. So add our external IP, WordPress admin. I don't think it's going to make me log in again here. No, it'll automatically load, but if we were logged out, you'd normally load to this screen for WordPress admin. You'd enter your credentials. You can have multiple admins on the site. And then you come to this beautiful dashboard, which is super user friendly. Not only is the website customizable, but the dashboard behind the scenes is also very customizable. So you can really build it out to do exactly what you need it to do. Right now, this is kind of the standard set of options that you get with WordPress: media, pages, comments, users, and other tools. The plugins page, which kind of allows you to extend functionality, and appearance, which is a big one with WordPress. They give you a lot of customization options with appearance. From the top here, you can actually visit your site. I just picked a template. So this is what the site looks like when you visit it. This little bar up here is just because we're logged in as an admin. Normally you wouldn't see that as a user. So this is just a template. No work has been done on this. So as you can see, it's extremely impressive. Just the template is already a really impressive, well-developed, well-engineered, well-designed site. So this is where we start. It's really exciting. So that's kind of the front end, just a real high level. Now, the nice thing about this is WordPress automatically builds in a PHP utility called MyAdmin, which allows you to see your SQL server via PHP right in a web browser. So once again, add our external IP /PHP MyAdmin. There's credentials for the database, and you can actually log in. Not much of a database right now. This is actually kind of a standard database that gets created on the front end for the site that stores some different information about plugins, help topics that may or may not show up, stuff like that. It's pretty basic, but as you can see, you can have many different tables. This is our PHP admin install. This is our WordPress database, which for now is pretty blog-ish, if you will, comments. I think this is actually this is a template comment here. But as you can see, this comments table is pretty cool. You can see the author, URLs, IPs, so there's a lot of data you can collect here. And you can actually run queries through here. There's definitely nicer ways to do it. You can actually set them up here. So the media library is a good example of part of the database. I only put one photo in there right now, so it's unfortunate that it doesn't have a lot, but this is an example of something that's in the PHP database right now. And as you can see, we can get all these fields back for it. We know who uploaded it. And if you had more, you'd be able to search for terms like, girl or whatever. I don't think there's any terms assigned to this, but if we did girl in white dress, it'll tell you it's saved. I should be able to search by that. No, I guess not. Oh, there we go. It's set case sensitive right now. We could change that, but this is just a good example. I just want to give you an example. So now it's searching off one of the fields that's actually in there. This can with plugins become a little bit more robust, but this is just kind of a basic example of that. But you could add other other sections here. It doesn't just have to be a general media table. So moving on, PHP MyAdmin, awesome way to view your SQL databases without having to run commands through a shell interface. So moving on, I want to just show you some examples of what's been done with WordPress. I don't want to set the bar too high, but these are pretty cool. This is a French media company. Their website is really technical for WordPress, but it's just a great example of what you can do with menus. So they have these really cool overlays with menus, and there's just so many levels of it. And then just the front page alone, you can see has a lot of media elements to it. Really cool design. There's functionality. They've actually got advertising on here, so just goes to show you can build a WordPress site and make good money off of it too. They have their most popular of the week and the month, which is really cool, something that could be considered to be implemented on the artist's website as well. Trending topics with like this scrollable, right? Follower numbers that dynamically refresh, or that's just a really unique animated GIF. But without spending too long on this, it's just a very, very robust, visually robust website, and a great example of what you can do when you really expand on WordPress's options. So the other sites I wanted to look at is this biscuit place in Paris, I believe. My French is not so great, but this is another great example of just a beautiful site, probably created with the help of a very talented graphic designer, but again, just what you can do with WordPress. Then there's a couple sites that I wanted to show you because they utilize the SQL database a little bit more heavily. This site This Is Your Kingdom. It's a site for finding something to do in the UK. So you can search by these drop downs. You can also use keywords, and then it queries their database and returns nothing, because I don't live in the UK and Birmingham apparently doesn't have anything to eat and drink. Beer and wine. Nobody has beer and wine. I think you can just search for just beer and wine, which I'd be very surprised. There we go. See, I just don't know my geographies very well. So this is a really good example of how they're utilizing the database to make queries, to allow for searches, and then bring back results for the user to view. So this is a really good example of something we might consider doing with this type of program. And then there's Tinkering Monkey, which is an e-commerce site. A couple who very talented carpenters. And so this is a great example of what you can do with forms in WordPress and ordering and data collection. If you click through, they have a pretty graphically intensive form, but like I said, this helps you kind of see what you can do with picking. I think we get to a point here where you actually are able to, so they have standard form boxes, radios. There is also the drop down, but there's also field validation. So if the field's required, you don't put anything in, it'll kick you back. So as you can see, bright red, fields required. So there is field validation in WordPress, which is a big one. So that's just kind of a rundown on WordPress and kind of how we have it set up for use on the Google server. And that's it. Thank you.